Welcome to the podcast. I'd like to speak about the framework of voice dialogue. Voice dialogue, the way that I work with it and the way we work with it at ITP, we see voice dialogue as part of transformational psychology. And it means that when we work with it in depth. And I'll speak a little bit more about that. So there are 4 pillars in the transformational psychology. One is about personal development. And in the personal development, we work with voice dialogue. People learn about their different selves, the primary self, the disowned selves. They learn about their vulnerability. And there's a whole process that happens by doing sessions and all that. Okay? But you cannot separate it from the second pillar, which is about relationships. The selves in ourselves, the parts in ourselves, they interact with the parts in another person or the parts in groups and society. So this is a whole topic in the transformational psychology. The dynamics between people, the bonding patterns we speak about, the way people connect energetically. And if you find somebody irritating, it reflects something of yourself. So the outside world is a mirror. If you overly admire somebody, a politician or an artist or something, it's probably a projection of a part of yourself that wants to live. And so we examine our relationship with the world around us, from intimate relationship, colleagues, groups, society, our culture. So that's a whole topic in itself, which goes very well together with that personal development. And the third pillar, it's the work with energy. We see the parts not just as mental aspects in the mind, in the thinking. We work with it in a very physical way. The parts have to do with our body, our centers, our energy centers. For the facilitator in voice dialogue, it's important to have an awareness of the body, to be in touch with the natural breathing, meaning the deep breathing, not just the shallow breathing. And otherwise, it's very difficult to work in depth. Yeah, so that's a whole venue as well to work energetically. And there are a lot of practices as exercises based on yoga, based on Tai Chi, based on focusing and mindfulness that go hand in hand with the other elements. Okay, so that's important. And last but not least, the work with the unconscious. Yeah, voice dialogue comes from the tradition of Jung, changed by Helen Sitter Stone, but it's really a tool to get in touch with the unconscious, and through the unconscious to get in touch with, let's say, the inner teacher. And in another podcast, I speak about the work with dreams, and another one about work with daydreams. These are all ways to work with our unconscious. And the nice thing, when you find your inner teacher in your unconscious, you're less dependent on outer teachers. You find like an inner guidance. Yeah? So these are the 4 elements that are really, in my view, belong together. And it's such a pity that voice dialogue, sometimes it's taught without any connection with these 4 elements. And the way we work with it is really, you could say voice dialogue is an entry point, an entryway to a more deepening form of work we call transformational psychology. And then transformation happens on the level of the selves we have, on the level of our body, energy, on our unconscious, and also in our relationships. And we find our part in the world, our way of being in the world, that's where we belong, that belongs to us. Yeah? We find our own, let's say, path and on the outside, our tribe. Thank you.